Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rishabh and this is our lecture number 2 of question and answer discussion series. In this particular series, we are discussing all the ICA study material questions and answers of your set A, which is basically corporate and economic laws. In the first lecture, we had discussed about FEMA, that is your Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. We had discussed all the questions and answers, and in this chapter, we will discuss your qualification and appointment of directors, which is basically your chapter number 1, question and answers. This includes your MCQ question and answers and your descriptive question and answers as well, because descriptive can be converted into MCQs and can be asked into your examination. So I have decided to cover all the questions including your descriptive ones as well. Now, before watching this video, you should definitely watch out the revision video of this particular chapter, which is basically appointment and qualification of directors, which is already uploaded onto the YouTube. So please watch that video first before watching this particular question and answer discussion video. If you watch that video first and then watch this video, then this will be very useful and you will be able to crack all the questions very easily. So now, without wasting much of time, let us begin. So now let us discuss your test your knowledge question number 1, which is basically your MCQ part. So now in the first question it says this: Mr. Q, who is a director of PQR Limited, is proceeding on a foreign tour covering entire Europe for 4 months. Now he proposes to appoint Mr. Y as an alternate director to act on his behalf during his absence. Matlab, Mr. Q is going abroad for 4 months, and during those 4 months he wanted to appoint a person called Mr. Y as an alternate director. So the article of association of PQR Limited provides for the appointment of alternate director. Mr. Q claims that he has a right to appoint alternate director of his choice. Which of the following option is applicable in the following situation? So if you remember the provisions with respect to alternate director, section 161 subsection 2 talks about alternate director, which says that article of association may confer the board of directors the power to appoint any person as an alternate director. Matlab, a person who is a director has no power to appoint alternate director. He may express his willingness to appoint any person as an alternate director, whereas he doesn't have right to appoint any person. The right to appoint any person as an alternate director rests with the board of directors. So now let us discuss what are the answers given in this particular what are the options available here. So point number 8 talks about claim made by Mr. Q to appoint Mr. Y as an alternate director is valid. So is that valid? The answer to this question is no. So this is not right answer. This is not right. Moving on to the point number B. Claim made by Mr. Q to appoint Mr. Y as an alternate director is not valid. As of now, it seems to be good. Let us read further. As the authority to appoint alternate director has been vested in the board of directors only, and that too subject to empowerment by the article of association. Therefore, this seems to be appropriate ones, because the power to appoint alternate director rests with the board of directors and it should be empowered by article of association. This is what your section 161 subsection 2 talks about. So therefore, the answer to this question would be point number B. Now moving on to the question number 2. In compliance with Companies Act 2013, at least one woman director shall be on the board of the prescribed class of companies. Woman director, if you remember section number 149, second proviso to section 149, we had discussed this particular section. All the sections we have discussed, and this also we have discussed in the revision video. So please watch that video first in order to answer all these questions easily. So in compliance with the Companies Act 2013, at least one woman director shall be on the board of prescribed class of companies. Mr. Ria is keen to seek the office of the woman director in a company. So there is a lady called Mr. Ria, Miss Ria, who is willing to be appointed as a woman director in a company. Now, which of the following companies is mandatorily required to appoint a woman director where Miss Ria can hold such office? So if you remember, we have discussed about section 149, second proviso to section 149, which talks about every listed company is required to have a woman director. Every other public company having paid up share capital of 10 crore or more, turnover of 300 crore or more is mandatorily required to have at least one woman director on its board. So now let us discuss which of the following is appropriate. So here it says unlisted company, not exceeding 150 crore. It says that it should have at least 10 crore or more, right? Paid up share capital of 10 crore or more is at least. And here also, if you see, it is not more than. Whereas in there it is given as it should be minimum of 300 crore. Matlab, it should be more than 300 crore. So therefore, these two options are very wrong. Even this one seems to be very wrong. ABC Limited is a listed company. In case of listed company, you need not to check what is the paid up share capital limit, what is the turnover limit, and therefore every listed company is required to minimum appoint at least one woman director on its board. So the answer to this question would be what? Answer to this question would be point number B. So first one is B, second one is also B. Now, Kutumb Agro Limited, which is a newly incorporated company, has not mentioned the name of the first director in its article of association. There are 8 subscribers to the member of article of association, a memorandum of association, including Parivar Agro Private Limited. So there is a company called Kutumb Agro Private Limited, which is newly incorporated company, and that company is has not mentioned any person's name to be appointed as a director, the first director in the article of association. There are totally 8 subscribers. There are totally how many subscribers? There are totally 8 subscribers to the memorandum of association, including Parivar Agro Private Limited. So there are totally 8 subscribers, out of which one is a private limited company. If you refer section 152, we have discussed in our revision video, which talks about only individuals who are the subscriber to the memorandum shall be appointed as a first director of the company in case company has not, in case a memorandum of association and does not indicate any person's name as the first director. So therefore, a private limited company, any partnership firm, etc., shall not be entitled to be the first director. Only individuals can be the first director. So from the following 4 options, choose the one which indicates as to who shall be deemed to be the first director of KL when nothing is mentioned in the articles. So section 152 talks about this particular section, and let us discuss the answer. All the 8 subscribers to the MOA of KL shall be deemed to be the first director. So answer this option is completely wrong, because only individuals can be appointed as a first director. So this is wrong. Point number B talks about except Parivar Agro Private Limited, all the subscribers to the memorandum of association of KL shall be deemed to be the first director. Well, except Parivar Agro Private Limited, which is a company, all the other directors shall be the member of, all the other persons who are individuals shall be the member of, shall be the first director. So this seems to be very appropriate as of now. Now point number C, the shareholder shall appoint the first director in the general meeting of the company KL. So therefore this we have a separate section of section 152 which talks about specifically with these kind of situations. So therefore we shall not discuss this kind of situation over here. Point number D talks about out of the 8 subscribers to the memorandum of association, the first director being 3 individuals shall be nominated by Srinivas, the chartered accountant. There is no provisions with respect to any nomination under your section 152. So therefore the most appropriate answer that I feel is to be point number B, which is except Parivar Agro Private Limited, all other persons who are the individuals shall be the directors, first directors of the company in case MOA does not indicate any person being a first director. Point number 4, question number 4 talks about the turnover of XYZ Components Limited as on the last day of latest audited financial statement is 400 crores. How much it is? 400 crores. And it is a XYZ Component Limited. So this is a limited company. So please be very careful while solving the directors questions. All the 3 chapters, very important to differentiate whether it is a private company, whether it is a government company, whether it is a section 8 company, or whether it is a public company. So you have to clearly indicate, clearly bifurcate when you are reading the question. So the turnover of XYZ Component Limited, it is a public company. On the last date of audited financial statements is 400 crore rupees. An intermittent vacancy of a woman director arose on 15th of June 2021 due to the resignation of Miss Swati. So there is a lady called Miss Swati. In case of a listed company, you will have to mandatorily appoint a woman director. This is what we discussed in our previous question. Now, a limited company is having, a public company is having Miss Swati as a woman director, and she left. There is a casual vacancy, there is an intermittent vacancy which has arisen into the company. Now, the immediate board meeting after the resignation of Miss Swati was held on October 10, 2021. When did Miss Swati left? Miss Swati left on 15th of June 2021, and the next board meeting happens on 10th of October 2021. From the following options, choose the one which indicates the date by which the vacancy of woman director must be filled by the XYZ Components Limited. So, matlab, this is with respect to the filing of intermittent vacancy in case of a woman director. This also we have discussed, which says that intermediate vacancy of woman, according to section 149 second proviso, it says that intermediate vacancy in case of woman director shall be filed either in the next immediate board meeting or within 3 months from the date of such resignation, from the date of such vacancy, whichever is later. So if for your reference, I have also come up with a provision over here. Section 149 talk about vacancy to be filed by immediate next board meeting or 3 months from the date of such vacancy, whichever is later. So matlab, whichever is later, that date shall be considered for the purpose of vacancy filing date. So if you count 3 months from 15th of June 2021, it should be July, August and September, 15th of September 2021 or 10th of October 2021, whichever is higher. So the answer to this question would be what? 10 October 2021, and fourth one answer would be B. Now let's discuss question number 5. Mr. Nagarjuna, one of the directors of MGT Mechanics Limited, due to his own business interest, decided to resign as director and accordingly sent his resignation letter dated 12th of June 2021 to the company, stating that he intends to resign with effect from 15th of June 2021. Mr. Nagarjuna, I am Mr. Nagarjuna. I am willing to resign from XYZ company, from MGT Mechanics Limited, and I, sent a resignation letter dated 15th of June 2021 to the main, dated 12th of June 2021, saying that I shall be resigning with effect from 15th of June 2021. So there are two dates. Okay, one date is 12th of June. I am sending the notice, and in that notice I am saying that from 15th June I will be not serving as a director of the company. Now, since no communication relation of his resignation was received from MGT Mechanics Limited, he sent an email on 17th of June 2021. He sent a letter, Nagarjuna sent a letter to MGT Mechanics Limited, but he did not receive any kind of response. So therefore, he sent an email on 17th of June 2021 inquiring about the receipt of resignation letter by the company, but there was no response. However, MGT Mechanics Limited received his resignation letter on 18th of June 2021. When did MGT Mechanics receive the resignation letter? So the resignation letter was received by MGT Mechanics on 18th of June 2021. 4 dates are there. 12th of June I am sending the notice saying that 15th of June say I will not be serving as director. 17th of June again I am sending a reminder saying that I did not receive any response. Whereas actually the board received the resignation letter on what date? On 18th of June 2021. Out of the following 4 options, which indicates the correct date from which the resignation will be effective. So what does the provision says? It says that effective date of resignation would be what? The resignation of a director shall take effect first is from the date on which the notice is received by the company, or the date if they specified by the director in the notice. Either the date which is specified in the notice or the date, it would be 15th of June 2021. Whereas one more condition is that from the date on which the notice is received by the company, whichever is later. So 18th June I received the notice, 15th June I will be not serving as a director, and 18th June the company received that letter. So whichever is later will be considered as a date of resignation. So what should be the answer to this? I think you will be able to answer this. The answer to this question would be point number D. Now the last MCQ of this chapter. Mr. Z is proposed to be appointed as a director in RLP Mechanics Limited. It is a Mr. Z is proposed to be appointed as a director in RLP Mechanics Limited. Which company is this? This is a public company. It is a noteworthy that Mr. Z already holds directorship in 1 dormant company, 2 Section 8 companies, and 8 public limited companies. So how many this happens? 1 dormant and 2 Section 8, totally 3, and 8 public companies, so totally 11 are there, and 9 private limited companies. So 11 plus 9, 20 companies I am holding a directorship. So if you remember, there is a provision in Companies Act in your chapter number 1 which talks about maximum number of directorship. Section number is 165. Section number 165 talks about maximum number of directorship in case of a company. So totally 20s are already there. But you remember there are certain companies which are excluded from the definition of maximum limit. So what are those companies? Let us discuss the provision first, and then we will move on to the question back. So this is part of our study, our notes which I have uploaded on the Telegram channel. The link of which is given into the description. You can find all these good notes in there, and you will be able to understand these very properly. Now, holding of maximum number of directorship. So number of directorship, maximum 20 directorship a director can hold, including alternate directorship. Matlab maximum 20 he can hold. As of now, according to the question, they are also holding 20 directorship. After the 20, 10 should be public. Maximum 10 should be public. So here if you see, As of now, we have understood that 8 public limited companies are there. Out of 20, only 8 are there. So this is also within the limit. Now, exclude from 20 companies directorship in government company. So therefore, so the directorship in one government company, this is to be excluded. So therefore, we had counted 20. So reduce this one, because government company directorship is not counted while you are counting the maximum number of directorship. And therefore, so total number of directorship after excluding government company would be how many? 90. Now, what does the point number 4 talks about? Any lesser number of directorship, this is not of much relevance. Now, here what does this says? It says that including subsidiary of a public company. Matlab, if you are saying that out of total maximum number of public, out of 20 maximum number of directorship, maximum 10 can be public. And any kind of company which is a subsidiary of a public company shall also be counted in the definition of 10 public companies. Now, let us read the question forward. However, out of 9 private limited companies, there are 2 subsidiaries of public limited companies. So, if a company which is subsidiary of a public company, that is also covered as a public company under your section 165. Therefore, total number of companies which are public company as of now is how much? 8 already we were there, and 2 subsidiaries, including totally there are totally 10 companies which are public limited companies, in which Mr. Z is holding a directorship as a directorship. Now, in the given circumstances, is it possible for Mr. Z to accept another directorship in RLP Mechanics Limited without attracting any invalidity? Matlab, without attracting any invalidity, is it no? Mr. Z can accept the directorship in RLP Mechanics Limited. You tell me, RLP Mechanics is a private limited or a public limited? It is a public limited company. Maximum number of directorship that is allowed is 20, out of which maximum 10 companies can be public limited companies. 10 are already covered, 8 were already we were directly holding directorship, and 2 companies which are private limited companies, which are basically the public subsidiaries of public limited companies, are also counted within the definition of your public companies. So 8 plus 2 companies which are private limited, subsidiaries of public limited, totally 10 are there. Now, RLP Mechanics Limited, one more public limited company, if we accept a directorship, then the limit of 10 public companies, limit ye jo hai na, limit, you see this limit of 10 public companies, this will be breached, and therefore this will be violation of section 165. So is this appointment valid? Can he accept? Answer to this question is no, he cannot accept such a directorship. So it is not possible for Mr. Z to accept another directorship in RLP Mechanics Limited, since holding already no. He is not holding directorship in 20 companies. He is holding directorship in only 19 companies. Government company we are excluding. And even if you accept directorship in RLP Mechanics, then the maximum number would be 20. So this is a wrong option. Not possible to another directorship, since he is already holding directorship in 8 public limited companies and 2 such private limited companies which are subsidiaries of public limited companies. So therefore, this option is the appropriate one, and therefore this is the right answer. All 6 MCQs I have discussed. Please let me know in the comment section if you have not understood any of the provisions. I will try to respond to you as soon as possible, and please share all these videos to your friends, your colleagues, so that they can also get benefited and they clear their SPO examination in the very first attempt. This is a humble request. Please do share it. And one more thing, let me tell you, if you are somebody to whom set C and set D are also applicable, so I am coming up with a batch of set D. I'll be sharing the further details, like what will the pricing of that batch, how you will be getting the notes, and how you will be getting classes where you will be getting what will the total duration. So please stay tuned in the Telegram channel. I will be posting all those updates over there. And yeah, now let us move forward with respect to the descriptive questions. Why descriptive questions are important? Because an MCQ can be framed from these kind of descriptive questions, which you can find in your examination as well. So now let us discuss the descriptive questions as well. Now, the article of association of question number 1 of Rajasthan Toys Private Limited provide the maximum number of directorship in a company shall not exceed 10. Article of association provided maximum number of directorship is 10. Presently, the company has 8 directors. Its board of directors desired to increase the number of directors from 8 to 16. 8 to 16 we are increasing. Advise whether the provisions of Companies Act 2013, whether board can do so or not. If you remember, your section number 149, first proviso to section 149 says that a company can have maximum of 15 directors. If you want more than 15 directors, then you will have to pass a special resolution. So in case 8 directors are there, no issue. If you want to increase it to 16, then in such a case you need to pass a special resolution. But again, The question says that there is a provision in the article of association which says that the maximum number of directors shall not be more than 10. Therefore, you need to amend the article of association as well. While you are amending your article of association, you need to pass a special resolution. If you pass a special resolution, then according to this question, you need to pass two special resolutions. One for the amendment of article of association in the general meeting, and the second special resolution would be, to increase the maximum number of directorship from 15 to 16. So there are totally two special resolutions are required in this particular question. If you want to read the answers are given below in the IC module as well. You can read those answers. Now, question number 2 talks about ADGL Limited has 10 directors on its board. 2 of the directors have retired by rotation at an annual general meeting. The place of retiring director is not so filled up, and the meeting has also not expressively resolved not to fill the vacancy. Matlab, 2 directors have retired by the rotation at an annual general meeting. 2 directors have retired at AGM, and the place of retiring directors is not filled up in the meeting. The one who have retired, their place has not been filled, and there is no expression also with respect to not filing of the casual vacancy. Now, since the AGM did not complete its business, it is adjourned till the same day in the next week at the same time at the same place. At this adjourned meeting also, the place of retiring directors couldn't be filled up, and the meeting has also not expressively resolved not to file the casual vacancy. 2 directors retired by rotation, and you did not file the casual vacancy, and you also did not file any pass any resolution for not filing of casual vacancy. Since this transaction did not completed, you postponed the meeting to the next week, same time, same place. In the next meeting, in the adjourned meeting also, you were not able to file a resolution for the appointment of appointment of persons as a director in case of the directors who was retired by rotation. And neither you pass a resolution with respect to not to filing of casual vacancy, In such a case, what should be the correct among the following answers? Now, whether we have to answer the question whether in such a situation the retiring director shall be deemed to have been reappointed at the adjourned meeting. So let us discuss the answer, then we will be able to understand this more easily. This was question number 2, right? Yes, question number 2, and first one we have to discuss. Yes. So retiring director went to deemed retiring. So in accordance with the provisions of Companies Act, as contained in section 152 subsection 7 clause A, which provides that if at the annual general meeting at which a director retires and the vacancy is not so filled up, and the meeting has not exceptionally resolved to fill the vacancy, the meeting shall be adjourned to the same day in the next week at the same time and place. This is what we have understood. Now it also further provides that if urgent meeting also the place of the retiring director is not filled up, and that meeting also not expressively resolved for not to filing the vacancy, then the retiring director shall be deemed to have been reappointed at the urgent meeting. So matlab, if you have not passed a resolution for appointment of any person as director, nor you have passed a resolution for not filing of casual vacancy, in such a case the persons who are eligible to retire by rotation shall be deemed to be reappointed at the urgent meeting. So this is what your provisions of section 157 subsection 2 clause B talks about. So the answer to the first one would be, in the first case, applying the provisions above, the retiring director shall be deemed to be reappointed. Now in the second scenario, in the second case where the resolution for the reappointment of the directors was lost, matlab, you are saying that we are not going to appoint any person as we are not going to appoint any person as we are not going to reappoint the persons, and in such a case the retiring director shall not be deemed to have been reappointed. So in the first question they shall be deemed to be reappointed, in the second answer it would be they shall not deemed to be reappointed, and this third one, if you read it, you will be easily able to understand on your own. Okay, so 2 questions we are done with. Price Limited desires to appoint an additional director on its board of directors. So this provision also we had discussed earlier in the MCQ session, but let us discuss forward. The article of the company confer upon the board to exercise the power to appoint such a director. As such, I am appointed as an additional director. In the light of the provisions of Companies Act 2013, examine whether M can continue as director if the annual general meeting of the company is not held within the stipulated period and is urgent to a later date. Matlab, this is a company called Prince Limited which desires to appoint any person as an additional director on its board. The article of company confers upon the board to exercise the power. Just a second. confer the board to exercise the power to appoint such a director. मतलब a person can be appointed as a director and the power rests with the board of directors. Let us discuss the provisions. What does the provision talks about? Section 161 subsection 1 talks about additional director, which says that article of association of a company may confer on its board of directors the power to appoint any person as an additional director. This is what given in your question as well, right? Power is restricted to board of directors. Now now what is the holding? What is the term of such person being appointed? Shall hold office up to the date of the next annual general meeting or the last date on which the AGM should have been held, whichever is earlier. So this is what the term of the director should be, term of the alternate director. So what does the point number 1 talks about? Whether M can continue as director if the annual general meeting of the company is not held within the stipulated period and adjourned at a later date. So what does the section 161 talks about? It says that in case EGM is not held up to the due date, then the person shall hold, the alternate director shall hold office up to the date by which the AGM should have been held. Therefore, so what should be the answer to this question? The answer to this question is no. A person shall continue to hold office only up to the date up to which the annual general meeting is to be conducted. If it is not conducted, then he has to vacate the office. He cannot continue further. Can the power to appoint additional director be exercised at the annual general meeting by the members? Can the members at the annual general meeting can exercise the power to appoint additional directors? The answer to this question is no. Your section 161 clearly says that article of association can confer only the board of directors to appoint any person as alternate director, and therefore AGM can, the members will not have any right to appoint alternate director. Now, as the company secretary of the company, what checks would you make after M is appointed as an alternate director? So this question is not relevant because you need not to write a scripted answer, and therefore you can cancel this question in your module. Now, question number 4. Sorry. The board of directors of XYZ Limited filled up a casual vacancy caused by the death of Mr. P by appointing Mr. C as a director on 3rd of April 2019, which was subsequently approved by the members in the immediately next general meeting. There is Mr. C who was appointed in place of Mr. B who died on 3rd of April 2019. So Mr. C was appointed in place of Mr. P, which was subsequently approved in the annual general meeting. Now, unfortunately, Mr. C expired on 15th of May 2019. 3rd April 2019, Mr. C was appointed in place of Mr. P, who had died. Now, on 15th of May 2019, Mr. C also expired. Mr. C expired on 15th of May, unfortunately, after working about 40 days as a director. Now, the board of directors now wishes to fill up the casual vacancy by appointing Mr. C in the forthcoming meeting of the board. Advise the board in regard to keeping in the view of provisions of Companies Act 2013. So, filing of casual vacancy. This provisions is based upon filing of casual vacancy. Let us read the answer what is given below, and we will try to understand what is the answer. I know, but I just wanted to tell you. Okay. Question number 4, right? Okay. Question number 4. Yes. Section 161 talks about casual vacancy. Let us discuss the relevant part over here. Yeah, any person so appointed under section 161, filing of casual vacancy. If a person is, if board of directors appoint any person in place of any other director, if a board of directors appoint a person as a director in place of any other director which was appointed under annual general meeting, in such a case, section 161 applies to those kind of directors. Now, a person who has been appointed as a director by the board of directors in place of a person who was appointed under the casual vacancy under section 161(4), then in such a case this provision does not apply. So what does section 161 subsection 4 talks about? It provides that if the office of any director appointed by the company in general meeting is vacated before his term of office expire in the normal course of resulting casual vacancy in default and subject to the any regulations. So matlab, what does this say is that this provision is applicable only in case a person is appointed as a director in the annual general meeting. You tell me, was Mr. C appointed as a director in annual general meeting? Answer to this question is no. He was appointed as a director under your section 161 subsection 4, which was subsequently approved by the board of directors in the general meeting. Therefore, section 161 subsection 4 doesn't apply to appointment of Mr. Who? What was the person who was appointed at the last? Let us see. Mr. C expired on 15th of May 2018, and again a vacancy has arisen in the office. Therefore, This vacancy is not arisen out of the person who was appointed in the annual general meeting, and therefore section 161(4) doesn't apply in this particular case. Directors owing to date of Mr. C was appointed by the board and approved by the members to fill up the casual vacancy resulting from P's demise. Vacancy rising on the board due to vacation of office by the director appointed to fill a casual vacancy in the first place does not create another casual vacancy under section 161 subsection 4. So this vacancy you cannot say it is a casual vacancy, and as section 161 subsection 4 clearly mentions that such vacancy is created by the vacation of office by a director appointed by the company in the general meeting. Hence the board cannot fill the vacancy arising from death of Mr. C, who was appointed to fill a casual vacancy. Matlab, you cannot appoint a person. Section 161 subsection 4 doesn't apply to a person who has been appointed as a casual vacancy director. Therefore, the board may, however, appoint Mrs. C as an additional director under section 161 subsection 4 of the Companies Act 2013. So the answer to this question is no. They cannot appoint such a person. Question number 5. Let us discuss. Mr. John is a director of MNC Limited, which has accepted deposits from public. The financial position of the MNC took a southward turn and becomes bad to worse, and ultimately it failed to pay the deposits which fell due for repayment on 10th of April 2018. And such a repayment has not been made till 5th of May 2019. Another company, JKL Limited, wants to appoint the said Mr. John as a director at its annual general meeting to be held on 6th of May 2019. There is a director who has defaulted in payment of deposits which was accepted by him. And this default period is, let us see what is the default period. They had to pay the deposits by 10th of April 2019. However, they did not pay it till 5th of May 2019. So this is more than 1 year. If you see the disqualification which are mentioned in the section 164 subsection 2, it says that if a person who fails to pay deposits accepted by it or pay interest, if a person fails to pay deposits or interest on such deposits or redeem any kind of debentures on the due date, or pay interest due thereon, or pay any other dividend declared, and such failure to pay or redeem continues for a period of 1 year or more. And this is in this particular question, the failure is continuing for more than a year, and therefore he is disqualified to be appointed as a director in any other company. This is what your section 164 subsection 2 says, and therefore Mr. What is the name of this person? Mr. John cannot be appointed as a director in case of JKL Limited. So this question answer we can refer from section 164 subsection 2. 6, 7, how many questions? 8, 9, 10. 5 more questions left out. Let us discuss quickly. It is an unlisted public company having paid a share capital of 20 crore or more. 20 crore as on 31st March. Turnover of is 150 crore rupees during the year. Total number of directors is 13. State the minimum number of independent directors company should appoint. It is an unlisted public company. If you refer the provisions of unlisted public company, you see here independent directors. In case of independent directors, just a second. Yes, we are asking about independent directors over here. So in case of independent directors, a listed company. In this question, the company is not a listed company; it is an unlisted public company, and therefore it should have minimum of 2 independent directors. So the answer to the question number 1 would be 2. How many independent directors are to be appointed in case of XYZ Limited is a listed company? If it is a listed company, then you need to mandatorily appoint at least 1/3 directors as an independent director. So if you read this particular point, just a second. If you read this particular circle, you will be able to answer this, and this is what the question answer is. At least 1/3 is required in case of a listed company. Independent directors we are talking about here. Question number 7, Bright Motors annual general meeting. Let me discuss, see what is the question talks about. Just a second. I think you can read this question on your own. This seems to be a very easy question. Question number 8, let us discuss. Mr. Dhruv is a director of LT Limited and XT Limited respectively. LT Limited did not file its financial statement for the year ended 31st of March 2016, 17, 18 respectively with the Registrar of Companies as mandated under Companies Act 2013. If you remember, they have defaulted in filing of annual returns, financial statements for 3 consecutive years, 16, 17 and 18. Remember, there are provisions under Companies Act 2013 which restricts a person to be appointed as a director who has been who has defaulted in filing of financial statements or annual return for 3 consecutive financial years. So if you see here in this chart also, if you can see a person who has been director of a company which has not filed financial statement or annual return for consecutive period of 3 financial years, then such a person shall not be appointed to be, shall not be eligible to be reappointed as a director of any company. or any director in any other company. So what should be the answer to this question? Whether Mr. Dhruv is disqualified under Companies Act 2013 and whether so he can continue as a director of LT Limited. He is disqualified to be appointed as a director or in any other company. So this answer to this question is yes. Mr. Dhruv is proposed to be appointed as an additional director in MN Limited in June 2019. Is he eligible to be appointed as an additional director in MN Limited? So any kind of directorship is not allowed, and therefore he is not entitled to be eligible. He is not eligible to be appointed as an additional director as well. Let us discuss this question from the answer given below. The eighth one, he is disqualified. This one we discussed. Point number 2 talks about cannot be appointed as an additional director. Matlab, there is no directorship is allowed if a person has failed to file financial statement or annual return for 3 consecutive financial years. Let us discuss 2 more questions and we are done with this chapter. CFO, you are a CFO in charge of legal compliance in large multinational company. In the board of directors of the company comprises of directors which are Indian as well as foreign national. Mr. X is a director on the board, is very often on business tour abroad. He opposed you want to know from you the regulatory provisions within the Companies Act with respect to appointment of alternate director. We had discussed these earlier also, and I don't think so there is much of importance again reading this. If you want this, so these are the provisions given in my notes which I have provided, which you can find this section 161 subsection 2 in the Telegram channel, the link of which is given in the description. Please download that file and you will be able to access this particular screenshot over there, or you can just take a screenshot of it, and if you read this and answer these questions, you will be able to answer it quickly. Since we have discussed these provisions earlier, therefore I am skipping this question, otherwise I would have discussed this. This is again a waste of time for you as well as me also. Question number 10. Mr. R holds directorship in 10 public companies. Again, this was discussed out of total 20 public directorship. So this provision we have discussed in details right now, only discussed in the one of the earlier questions. So if you answer this question, you will be able to answer this as well. That's all. All questions we are done with the directors related chapters. We have done with all the questions. If you like the video, please share it with all your friends. And thank you so much for watching. Thanks a lot.